Hello, I'm Full Paragon, and this is your guide to the Sylvia Arena. In a rather shocking turn of events, this is not a light or dark arena, but in fact, Water Arena has returned with the Demon King's most confusing general. The waves here are first one and then two rather tanky goblin minions. You should be able to blitz them down fairly easily, but it does mean AoE from Megamine isn't quite as important in here. On turn 1, Sylvia will use a seal. It has 25% chance per character to go off. My advice is to use as many skills and ultimates before this as possible to reduce the chances of being affected by sealed, as you'll only be able to basic attack. On her second turn, she'll do a magic attack debuff. If you're running mages, you can skip this using Wiz's ultimate and forcing Sylvia to use her own ultimate ability on that turn, thereby skipping the debuff. On turn 6, she'll do a minor physical attack debuff, but you can either skip it or don't really worry about it. Sylvia mostly deals magic damage, and the day 1 of this arena won't matter even slightly, as the banner with Swimsuit Erika will come out on day 2, and that's what will really shape the meta. The day 1 team / the Mage Team is going to be completely identical to what it was the last time, so much so that this is a copy-paste of Sylvia's arena from many months ago. If you run mages, you'll still run exactly this team, although you might swap out Iris in the last slot, put Amelia there, and run Erika with her Gauge Charge ultimate instead for more DPS, but overall, I think this team is going to lose hard to physical, both because of Sylvia's debuff and because the physical team is just going to be much better this time around. Still, this team can work. The typical ReZero Megamine and Christmas Wiz combo is, as always, quite potent. Christmas Wiz's ultimate, being of the water type, does help out quite a bit, and Academy Union still does a lot of damage. Amelia, having a water type ultimate, helps her deal tons of damage to the boss, and Iris in the last slot is as fine as always, although, as I said, she can be replaced here. Another good option is to put Aru in the last slot, as 3-star Water Aru is still okay, although at this point she's really showing her age and can't really compete with the newer, more power-crept characters we've been getting. Other options in this team include Valentine Cecily, although more than that, I think Swimsuit CeeLo is a pretty potent option here, as her mage support is rather strong and she deals an okay amount of damage. As for the physical team, it's only going to be viable starting from day 2, but once it gets here, the meta is pretty wide open. My suggestion here is just that, a suggestion. I'm not totally sure how this meta will shape up, although I think this team is quite strong. Starting off, I actually suggest to use Rem. Yes, she's quite old at this point, and her own agility buff doesn't work all that well with Erika, but the fact that she has a water-based ultimate is pretty great here, and she has not only a minor heal, but pretty strong damage because of her water-typed ultimate. Next up, I suggest Valentine's Leah. She has a very useful damage cut in her kit, and the fact that her second ultimate deals water-type damage and provides cooldown cut is rather useful. You really don't want to use her ultimate 1.5 or her ult 1 here, as they just don't work well with the rest of the team, so only try and use her if you have her second ultimate. Then of course we have Swimsuit Erika. She's incredibly powerful and either of her ultimates will work. However, I think if you're using another character like Rem, who provides a tier 3 physical attack buff on their ultimate, you're actually better off using Erika's Gauge Charge ultimate. The amount of spam that you can do when you're using her ultimate is pretty ridiculous, as it only takes 80% to charge itself, and it provides 30% ultimate gauge charge to everyone. Another character I really like here is actually Don Machi Aqua. You could try running her up front instead of Rem, but I don't think she'll work quite as well. I'm having her use Sacred Create Water here because it's just much better here, because this is an arena where the water type damage is favored. Her tier 3 physical attack buff and Gauge Charge are both quite useful. Eventually, obviously, you replace her with Godqua, but for now, she works. The last slot is kind of contentious. You might need a healer, but I think you can just go for more damage using Valentine's Iris. Iris is the only character here who's going to provide a physical defense debuff on the boss, and of course, as always, she's a lot of damage when she comes in last, so I'd suggest using her here. You can also try using Ninja Mia or Matsumoto in this last slot or in place of Rem, as they can both provide a tier 3 physical attack buff. As for the welfare options, I hesitate to call this a welfare team because I really think to rank it all in this arena, you're gonna need to have some 4-star characters. Specifically, Swimsuit Erika or Amelia. Without them, this arena is quite painful. Swimsuit Union is available again, and if you don't have Academy Union and are gonna try running a Mage Team, she's not bad. Valentine's Wiz is also quite good. You can try using OG Wiz instead of Valentine's Wiz, but OG just isn't as good because she has a typeless basic, whereas the Welfare Valentine's Wiz does have a water type basic, which both increases ultimate gauge charge and just overall damage against the boss. Water Aru is still okay, but honestly, she just can't compete with how powerful these newer 4-star or even 3-star characters are, but since she's widely available, I think some people will use her. Valentine's Leah, as I mentioned, is really great whether you're running mages or physical. If you're not using Swimsuit Erika, her ult 1.5, which provides a damage cut, and tier 2 agility buff are pretty good, but it doesn't play well with Swimsuit Erika at all. As far as Snow Erika goes, she's a worse version of Swimsuit Erika, but the difference between a tier 1 agility buff and a tier 2 agility buff is vast. You can try using Snow Erika instead of Swimsuit Erika, but I just don't think it'll work. That's the video. Thanks for watching. There will be a stream tomorrow where I'll be doing the polls and the arena to see just how powerful Swimsuit Erika really is.